So let's go ahead and get started. So just to let you know, these slides are available to you at the URL that you see at the bottom of each slide. And there are a lot of resources and links in this slideshow, so you may want to open that so that you can come back to it and use the resources later. So this topic of digital citizenship is always important, but now that many students are heavily engaged in online distance learning, it becomes even more important. Right? Because not only are students spending a lot of time on screens, but they're also not likely to have as much supervision as they do in the classroom when they're using screens. And then another challenge is, how are we actually going to teach this right now? It's hard because we've got the same challenges with distance learning that we have with teaching other subjects. So we're going to spend this session sharing recommended resources and how to use them. And we'll spend just a little time talking about Zoom and Google Meets, video conferencing best practices at the toward the end of this session. Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about the resources that we're going to be sharing today. So first of all, you should know that Common Sense Education, which is affiliated with Common Sense Media, has a full digital citizenship curriculum, and it's really good with a lot of materials for all for K through 12 grade levels. You can filter by topic and by grade level, and there's a variety of materials, including YouTube videos, slideshows, and worksheets. And you can really choose what you want to use. The only thing with this is that there's a lot there, so you have to spend a little time looking through the materials, and not all of the activities are designed for distance learning. But just know that this is a really great resource, and it's free for you to use. Okay, so while I was looking at the Common Sense curriculum, I noticed that it includes a bunch of videos for older students, and they're all on a YouTube channel called Above the Noise. And they're very cool, and I think middle school and high school students will generally like these a lot. And they're not only on digital citizenship, they're on a lot of topics, but there is a playlist for media and tech that has to do with digital citizenship. So really good resource as well. Finally, I want to highlight BrainPop, which is a free resource right now for OUSD, and they have a very good selection of videos about digital citizenship, which are really good. And if you're familiar with BrainPop, you might know that there are activities associated with each video. So that's a good resource as well. Okay, so just want to talk just a little bit about how do you teach this during distance learning. Okay, so there are a couple of options that I want to highlight for you. Everyone's got different ways that they like to teach, but one is that you can explore the Common Sense Media digital citizenship curriculum. And you have to, as I said, you have to look through that a little bit, but you can use what you want, and you can post assignments in Google Classroom or Seesaw. There are slideshows that you can, they're Google slideshows that you can actually copy and modify them. So that's one option, but that's going to take a little bit of time. A second option, which is kind of easier and more kind of like a la carte, is that you can choose individual videos from these resources and playlists. Students, they like videos, and these are usually short videos, so you can just post one into Google Classroom, and then you could accompany that along with a question or maybe a Google Doc assignment. So there's just an example right there, that screenshot right there. That's one way that you could do it. You could just do the post in the form of a question, attach one of these videos to it, and then just ask a question about it. Just a little bit of a little bit of a knowledge check, or a chance for students to provide their feedback. Okay, so that would be like a really kind of like easier option for teaching some of this. Okay. Let's talk just a little bit about different elements of digital citizenship, because that's a very big kind of umbrella term that has different categories to it. First of all, there's media balance, and that's finding the right balance between online and offline activities. And this is a very big topic right now, even before any of this distance learning, right? Because I've got 4 kids and always struggling with them about screen time. So that's something that kids really need to be thinking about and be considering. And so there are some good videos having to do with that. So it's really good for them to be cognizant of that, and for you to help provide some guidance for them. Privacy and security. This is a big one because a lot of students, a lot of young people, they don't always realize that there are privacy concerns when they're online, especially when they start using social media. So there are steps that they can take, and you can help them learn about which steps to take and what guidelines as far as like sharing or keeping safe. Also, relationships and communication. We've heard about cyberbullying. We know about that. And one thing is that it's not just cyberbullying, but it's just about just being kind to others. And one thing that you may have noticed, or that people notice about other people online, is that they may not be as kind online as they are in person, and there are different reasons for that. So it's something to think about. And then finally, media literacy. And that has to do with fair use, and then also the things like fake news. Okay, so this is maybe not as urgent of a topic right now, but this is definitely something that students need to know about as they get older and they start writing papers or just quoting things. They need to know how to give proper attribution to different sources. And they also need to know how to evaluate media, because there is a lot of fake news, and there are a lot of things that are exaggerated online. So it's really good to be able to help them build their toolbox so that they can evaluate media. Okay, so let's talk just a little bit about media balance. That's that first category that we talked about. And these are some key questions. Why is it important to have screen-free time? And what makes a healthy media choice? I'd like to just pause just for a second and just ask that first question. If you've got some input, could you type in the chat, why do you think it's important to have screen-free time? Why is that important? So just going to take a minute just to collect some of your feedback about that. Why is it important to have screen-free time? It might be more than one reason. There are more than one reason, but let's hear what you have to say. Okay. So I'm seeing some responses here. Your brain needs time to relax. Too much stimulus, need downtime to think. Eye strain. It's a good way to transition to another subject, to have more interaction with humans and the world. Rest for eyes. Physical exercise, eye strain. We are physical beings. Physical activity, eye health, allow the student to think, create on their own, because if not, your eyeballs will explode. Reconnect with ground and real life, fresh air, so I can have time to synthesize multiple activities that I've viewed. We don't know the long-term consequences of screen time, imagination growth, and then good for the eyes. I read when we're on screen time, we blink only 5 to 6 times instead of 18 times. Okay, very interesting. So yeah, there are multiple reasons, right? It's just a lot of it just has to do with respect for others, right? If you're in another room, I'm sure you might have had that experience. I have that with my wife. My wife says, maybe it's time to get off the screen now. And then I say the same thing to her. So just lots of reasons, distraction. But it's really important for kids because screens can be very addictive. So it's something to really point out to them now and start to help guiding them towards making good choices as far as media balance. Okay, so here are a couple of resources. These slides here, they're just they show individual videos. And so this is the kind of thing, like if you've got a video here, you could easily just pop one of those videos, those YouTube videos, into a Google Classroom post. And then if you wanted to ask a question, maybe use one of these questions here. If you accompany a question in Google Classroom or Seesaw with a video, you might ask one of these questions or turn it into an assignment. So this is a really good video here. So I'll just play just a little bit. I'll just play like a 30 seconds so you can just kind of see what it looks like.
Every day, we make choices about what we do. We choose what we eat. We choose what to wear. And we make choices about the media we use. And these choices affect how we feel. Some media choices make us feel happy, curious, or excited. Other media choices help us feel loved. But others could make us scared or stressed out.
Okay, so when I was watching that video, it just made me realize it's not only about just like screen time or not screen time, but also just kind of choosing what kind of media that you are actually exposing yourself to. So I like this video a lot for younger students. Okay, here's another one. This is, I really like this video also. This is a video, it's more for middle school or high school students with real voices from teens. So let's just take a quick look, a little bit of that one.
A lot more than I can count. I check it usually when I wake up in the morning. Before school, on the bus ride to school. During school. A couple times each class. At lunch. Probably check it at break. After school. Walking home. While I'm doing homework. I'm constantly checking my phone until I go to bed.
And I like this video a lot. It reminds me of my teenagers. And I just like the honesty in these videos. So a lot of these videos for older kids, they're really well done because they do use real voices and they're relatable. So that's just another good one. And I just want to point out that on all of these pages here, I do have, there's either a Spanish version of the video or there are subtitles that are available, okay? So we saw this one, and then moving forward, talking about privacy and security. This is another really important issue that has to do with digital citizenship and online safety. And some of the key questions are, what do I need to do to stay safe online? And what kind of information do I need to keep private? Okay, that's one thing. That was kind of an interesting question. That second one was interesting to me because I was kind of thinking, well, don't you need to keep everything private? But not necessarily. So a lot of these videos, they have some good thoughts about this. I really like, this is another common sense education video that's animated kind of for younger kids with some claymation. A lot of these videos are really well done. So I won't go through, won't do a preview of all of those, but just know that these are here. And I did list some good engagement questions that you can include with any of these videos. Here's another one. This is talking about private and personal information, kind of breaks it down a little bit about what kind of information is okay to share online, maybe your favorite food or your favorite movie or something like that, and then what kind of information you definitely would not want to share online, such as your full name, your address, what school that you go to. So any of these videos would be very easy just to drop into a Google Classroom or Seesaw activity. Really important right now just to help kids through all of these issues. This is another one. This is good. I really like, this is a series here, this Above the Noise that I was talking about. So some of these videos are in the digital citizenship curriculum for common sense education, but this is Above the Noise that's usually hosted by this guy, Miles, and I really like him a lot. So let's just take a quick look at this video here, just a little bit of it.
So back in the day, way back in 2006, when I was 12 years old, the principal came to the classroom to warn us about the dangers of MySpace, cyberbullying, inappropriate content, stranger danger. Now, if you don't know what MySpace is, it's basically like Facebook with music, kinda. But anyway, the principal tries to scare us, and that just made me want a MySpace even more. So I go home, ask my mom, can I have a MySpace? She's like, sure, I don't care. So I go and make one, but you have to be 13. So what do? I just lie and click that I was 13. And there you go. That's the start of my social media career. So that's my story.
Okay, so that's I really do like that guy Miles. I like the honesty. I like just that he's very relatable. So that's a good one for middle school kids. Next, next area that we want to talk about, relationships and communication, and some of the key questions. Why are people sometimes more unkind online than they are in person? And then what is cyberbullying and what can I do to deal with it? So I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. If we could just pause for a moment. That first question, Why are people sometimes more unkind online than they are in person? Could you share your thoughts in the chat? Let's just take a minute for you to write down your thoughts. Ms. Dunning says anonymity, because they can't see the other person's reaction. You don't see the person you're hurting. You can't see people's reaction, their eyes, avatars. People have no consequences. No consequences, can't be confronted in person. They feel protected. No consequences. Anonymity, again, can embolden nasty feelings without consequences. They don't know how the tone is coming across when they type something. Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, definitely agree with that. And a lot of people, they don't realize sometimes just things like typing in all caps, right? Like that can come across as being really unkind, even if it's not meant to be. So these are the kind of issues that that kids, they need guidance. They need to just some things to think about. And what is cyberbullying? What can I do to deal with it? Sometimes kids may witness cyberbullying and be asking themselves, is that something that I need to do something about? And we have already had some instances of some cyberbullying that have been happening since the closures online with Zoom messages, Zoom meeting. So it's definitely something that needs to be addressed right now. So here's some resources that you might want to have a look at. This is a really good one, this Power of Words. It's just about so these animated characters that are playing video games, and then there's one of the other players just said something like, "You're so dumb," or "That's a stupid move." Doesn't seem like maybe it's like so bad as far as cyberbullying, but words can really be hurtful. Here's another one that's just directly about cyberbullying, and it's just about bullying in person versus cyberbullying. What is it, and what could you do if you see someone being bullied either online or in person? And then this is a really good one. This is Above the Noise again, and Miles talks about is the internet making you meaner? And so this is a really good one. I like it a lot. And let's just take a very quick look at what Miles has to say about that.
Do you ever catch yourself saying something online that you probably wouldn't say in real life? I'm looking at you, internet trolls. Got something bad to say to me? Come at me, bro. Come on. I'm just kidding. We don't get trolls on our videos. Y'all are all great. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, for example, my name is Miles with a Y, Bess, B-E-S-S. And I got into a little altercation with the guy because his name was Miles with an I, B-E-S-T. So I was talking trash. I just kept tweeting him like, there can only be one. I'm better than you. Get off Twitter. Now, I was the aggressor in the whole situation. I probably wouldn't have done it if I had to see him face to face. But I was online and I felt protected by the internet. I think we've all seen how online conversations can quickly take a turn for the worse. Just look at any time a woman posts anything on social media. There's always somebody commenting about how she looks or how she's doing something wrong. Just ask my friend Julia from 2 Cents, a personal finance show on YouTube.
You're so right, Miles. I had the very unique experience of becoming pregnant, visibly so, and having the baby while I had a YouTube channel and while I was talking about like important things about money and trying to teach so many of the comments.
So this is a nice video because what I like about this series here is just that it's very relatable, and the host, Miles, often admits to his own mistakes. And I think that that gives permission for the viewers who are watching to feel like, okay, it's okay if I have done some bad things, but I just need to reflect a little bit. So really good series, like that one a lot. Okay, finally, the last category we were talking about is of digital citizenship, media literacy. What is fair use, and how do I properly attribute others' work? And how do I know whether information on the internet is fake or real? And especially this topic of fake news, because I feel like now we've got like kind of two different things with fake news. There's like actual fake news, and then there's fake news, like what some politicians, what they call fake news, which is actually real news. So it can be kind of confusing, and students, they need to have some discussion about it. So here's some good resources here. This is a good common sense education video. It's actually good for really a wide range of students, and discusses the concepts of copyright and fair use and how to attribute things. And there's some engagement questions. And I actually could not find the same video in Spanish, and it does not have subtitles. So I put the link to a different video about copyright and fair use that is in Spanish there. Okay. And then this one is about, is for elementary, good for middle school students, discussing how to distinguish fake news from real news. And then finally, here's Miles again, talking about why fake news manages to be effective. And that's a good one. This one's a little bit, there's some kind of like complicated issues here about cognitive bias and how it relates to confirmation bias. So any of these, just been kind of going through these. There's a video on each of these pages, so you can just they're the ones that that I liked a lot, I recommended, but you can find a whole lot of other videos. If we go to the YouTube playlist page here, these are different playlists. I couldn't find a playlist for kind of more like 3 through middle school, but a lot of these videos for 9 through 12, they're appropriate for middle school. And these all come from that common sense education curriculum. So you can find there are a whole lot of videos that are good for older elementary students and middle school students. And there's a whole playlist for elementary students that are in Spanish. So really good resource there. And then there's that Above the Noise playlist as well. Okay. So just want to talk just a little bit. We're kind of at the end of talking about the digital citizenship part of that and how you might teach that. Just wanted to just pause just for a second and see if we've got any questions. So what do you see there, Sam? Do we have any questions or not so much? No questions.
Not so much. There's actually been none, but a lot of like affirmations of the resources that you're sharing.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, well, that's great. So let's, if you do have questions, then go ahead and type those in. We might have more questions about the next topic that we're going to talk about. And so this is about Zoom security. So did want to just go over this a little bit because it's been a big issue. You probably know that there's been a lot of controversy around Zoom. Zoom has been kind of the preferred video conferencing solution really around the world, but there have also been some problems, and especially with education. Zoom was not actually designed for education. It was designed more for business, corporate kind of settings. And there have been issues with people doing what's called Zoom bombing, intruding on a session and showing up and just doing inappropriate stuff. And New York City schools, they shut down the use of Zoom, and Berkeley Unified also did. There was an incident that had to do with someone just showing up. So we have not forbidden the use of Zoom. We are not discouraging it right now. We feel that with the proper settings, that Zoom is just about as safe as the other solutions right now. So just want to talk about just the best practices for security. So first of all, before do have a video with Sam and I, we discovered that there's not really a way, you can't really do, you can't really like show the settings like while you're actually having a meeting. So we decided the best way to do it would be to do like to have me just like record, just do like a screen recording. So I did that the other day with my daughter, so I could show you what you should be looking for while you're getting set up to have a meeting. But just before I show you that video, just want to point out, really the main thing is that you should get on a little bit early to your meeting and then check your settings, okay? And if you have any students at all, make sure that you're enabling the waiting room. You're probably familiar with the waiting room. It basically just does not allow people to come in unless you manually let them enter, okay? And then these are the other settings that we'll go over in the video. Allow participants to share their screen, disable chat or disable private chat, allow participants to rename themselves. And then also before you get on, just think through the procedure for how to remove participants. You actually can't like see the right buttons before participants come in, but just think through it, okay? And that's why we're gonna show this video right now, okay? So Sam, I'm gonna play the video and just let me know if there are any problems with volume or anything like that, okay?
Got it.
And this video, it's a little bit choppy and weird looking, but it was the best that I could do just with what I had at the time. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so we started this meeting and I'm going to check my settings. And you may know that whenever you mouse over toward the bottom of the window, that's where you'll see your bar here down at the bottom. Now, the first thing I want to do is click on security to check security settings. Now, if you are going to have students in your meeting, the most essential setting is to enable the waiting room. Okay, that means that the participants must be manually approved by you before they can enter the Zoom meeting. So that's checked and that's good. So make sure your waiting room is enabled if any students are involved. And moving down, I can see that participants are allowed to share screen. Unless you have a reason to let other participants to share their screen, just uncheck that, okay? And when you uncheck something, the window disappears, so you have to click on it again if you want to do anything else. If you don't have a reason to let participants chat, then uncheck that. However, you may want to let them chat for some reason. And I also want to leave that on so I can show you another chat setting that we'll want to do. So we'll leave that on right now. And moving down one more time, rename themselves. Do not allow participants to rename themselves if they are students. That will help avoid them hiding their identity for some reason, okay? So those settings look fine, but I do want to talk about that chat setting, the extra chat setting. We have another icon here for chat. We'll click on that. That opens up a side window. This is where chat messages appear. And you may also notice that there's an additional settings icon here. Click on that, and then you can see that you can choose who the participant can chat with. Either no one, host only, everyone publicly, or everyone publicly and privately. And that is checked right now. You may not want students to have private chats. In fact, that's not recommended. So I'm going to choose another option, everyone publicly, and that means that whoever participants chat with, those will be seen by all participants, including myself, okay? So I'm gonna click on that, and there is one more setting in security. You may have noticed this lock meeting, but we don't want to do that if we have participants that are trying to join. So I'm gonna leave that unlocked. Maybe I want to do that when I feel like everyone is in, but for right now, just going to wait for participants. Okay, and so now I can see that my daughter has entered the waiting room. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and admit her. Hi, Sophie. Now, if you do have a participant that has joined the meeting and you do not want them in the meeting for some reason, then this is the quickest way to do it. Click on security, and then now you can see the option for remove participant is there. Click on that. And then you will see a list of your participants here. You may need to be thinking about who that participant is because you might have a much longer list than this one. Then click on remove. And then you'll have an option here. Do you want to remove that participant? Once removed, this participant will not be able to rejoin the meeting. Okay, so we're essentially kicking this person out of the meeting and that person will not be able to join again. Okay, so thanks for demonstrating, Sophie. We're going to have you leave the meeting, but not for anything that you did bad. All right, bye. Okay, so let's see. I'm just okay. So sorry, started that over again. Okay, so those are basically the security settings that you want to enable or disable. Just check those before you get on. And a scheduled Zoom meeting, you can start anytime. once you have it. You don't have to wait until it's time to start the meeting. You can get on a few minutes early, as Sam and I often do before our meetings, and we just check to make sure that everything is working correctly and check the settings. So highly recommended that you get on and just check your settings before you start. Okay. So next we're going to talk a little bit about Google Meet, and Sam is going to jump in and take over now. And so Sam, if you want me to, I can go ahead and move through the slides. Does that
Okay,
work for
great.
you? Okay.
Yeah, totally. So you might have noticed that recently Google Meet / Hangout has been added to Google Classroom, or maybe you haven't noticed yet. I'm saying Meet / Hangout because Google like recently rebranded Hangouts, or they're in the process of rebranding Hangouts as Meets. So you can, either is fine. But so it's now integrated in Google Classroom, and you can change in your settings to have your class's Meet link be displayed on the homepage of your Google Classroom. So what that looks like is right underneath where the join code is, you can see the Meet code for the class. And you can use that link over and over again. And when I heard that as a teacher, I was like, oh my God, danger, terrible idea. But the good news is that students can't log in to that Meet without you being in there. So they have created this with that security setting in mind. I really want to hype this playlist and this video on the right side of this slide. The playlist is really good because it has 4 videos, and they're everything that you need to know about Google Meet / Hangout, and they're very recent. They're from March and April. So you can think about, like, it starts very basic with like, what is it and how do you use it? And it builds out to like other ways that you could use it with your class to promote engagement. Google's help content also is pretty good on this topic. So if you're feeling like unsure about Google Meets or Hangout, or unsure about using the video or using Google Meet with Google Classroom, then I recommend you check out that playlist. I guess next slide. Google Hangouts, I was very struck by the difference in how many things you can change in terms of security settings, because in Zoom, as Kelth just showed us, there's so many things that you can manipulate and change. And in Google Classroom or in Google Meet, there's actually a lot fewer things that you can change. So in Google Meet, only the meeting creator can send and approve requests to join the meeting, so that's good. The Meet codes that are generated with Google Classroom can only be used with an OUSD email unless you invite somebody else to participate. So like an example of why you might invite somebody outside of OUSD is like all of your students are signed in with OUSD, and maybe you have a guest speaker coming and you need to invite them separately. In Google Meet, only the meeting creator can mute or remove participants as well. In the bottom left, I recorded a video of myself removing myself from a meeting just to show you what that looks like. That video doesn't have sound because both people were me, and it would sound really intense and crazy. So it's pretty quick and easy to remove people from a Google Meet though. It's only 2 clicks. You click on participant and then you click on the person's name and choose remove. The meeting link that Google Classroom creates for you prevents meeting reuse because it's a nicknamed meeting that only you can start. So students can't rejoin the call if once the teacher has left the meeting. So if you're using that Google Meets link via Google Classroom, then you want to make sure that you are the last person to leave the meeting. And then nobody else can rejoin. The maybe downside of Google Meets is that right now there's no option to turn off chat. There's no option to be as particular either with chat. So Kelth was mentioning in Zoom, you can have students just chat to the host. And I work with middle and high school students, and they have expressed a very strong preference of using chat to communicate versus like video and audio. So in my meetings with those students, I would enable chat to the host only, right? And I can say, oh, I have this question from Kelth, it says this. But in Google Class or in Google Hangouts, sorry, you can only have chat to everybody. And there's no option to disable it that I could find in the Google Help content as of March 29th was when that help content was from. I saw we did have a question.
So one of the questions was from Ms. Pope. Do you have suggestions in the event someone does bomb a meeting and does something inappropriate? Well, first of all, you would want to just get that person out of the meeting as quickly as possible, remove the participant, and then you would want to report that, whatever happens, try to get information about who that person was, and report that to your principal and also to the district also. So that would be something that you would report. You could report that to me or someone in the district, but definitely your principal, and try to include as much information as you can. One thing that we did change a setting so that students or participants, they cannot rename themselves with Zoom. And that was a big problem when there was some kind of like a bullying issue and the student kept on coming back into the meeting, changing his or her name, and that made it really difficult to figure out who that was. So I'm not sure if you can actually like kind of check that back, but I did show you that setting in Zoom. Do not allow participants to rename themselves. Can student Google accounts create a meeting and invite each other? I'm not actually sure about that. Do you know about that?
Yeah, so I don't know the exact answer because what the help content that I found says it's something that your your G Suite admin sets. So I'm not the G Suite admin for OUSD, and I don't know who is, but that would be something that we can check with them. Kenneth, probably the shortest way to test is to have one of your kids try to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, and then Aaron from Chabot said, in Zoom, I allow chat with host only and use it as an alternative question bank if kids don't want to raise hands and speak. So great suggestion.
Yeah, I do the same with high schoolers. They don't want to talk on camera.
Okay. So I think that brings us to the end, unless there are any other questions. Do we have any other questions? All right. Well, that gives us about 19 extra minutes in our day if we had anything else, if you got anything else to do. I know that I can think of a few other things to do.
Yeah,
Really
take a break from screen time maybe.
Yes, yeah. Take a walk and outside because it's a lovely day today. So thank you very much. We really appreciate all of your dedication and your persistence, teachers. Great job. And thank you, Sam, for being my partner in all of this. If you are able to, then return tomorrow, and Sam is going to be facilitating a webinar on distance learning, low-tech version. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what she has to say about that. And we'll go ahead and we'll sign off now. So thanks, everyone, and have a fantastic day.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Bye.